Good afternoon, everyone. It is 3:29, so we'll give it another minute so it allows folks to join on. I will start the share so we can get rolling right at 3:30. Okay. Can one of my panelists give me a thumbs up if they can see? Thank you. And interestingly, oh yeah, there's the time. Okay, it's 3:30. I want to honor everyone's time, so we'll get rolling. Thank you for joining us. It's an exciting time. A lot of exciting news ahead. Obviously, we're fortunate to be able to completed the second round of our COVID-19 vaccination clinic, school specific. And so I know I've received many complimentary emails and of appreciation. So thank you to all those that have done that. And again, thank you to our partnership with our Grand Traverse Health Department and Munson and the medical professionals in our community. Today, we want to spend a little bit of time bringing our staff up to speed on our one specific goal in our strategic planning process, and that's around our brand and identity. And just provide some context. I know we've emailed you an update as well as provided some information around this very important initiative moving forward. But we wanted to be very intentional about bringing our staff on board and making sure that you're seeing the things that we're communicating within our community as we start to transition in this renaming and rebranding process. So just as an overview, there are 56 intermediate school districts in the state of Michigan that support our students in a variety of different ways. There's a variety of different sized ISDs. Some serve just one county, some serve multiple counties. We happen to serve 5 different counties, as you're aware. And there's a variety of different names. Some of them are intermediate school districts, some of them are regional education systems, regional education service districts, educational service agencies, and educational service districts. So there's really no one particular name, if you will, of an intermediate school district. And some examples of recent changes occurred in St. Clair County to St. Clair Risa, Oceana ISD and Mason Lake combined to West Shore ESD, and then Oakland ISD is known as Oakland Schools. So just as some context, we began our strategic planning process back in 2018, and we did it through extensive data gathering, and want to thank so many of our staff and parents and community members that provided valuable data and information. And it was through that data of over 1,000 engaged stakeholders that we developed our 2019 to 22 strategic plan. We labeled it SAIL, and it really is driving all of our improvement. It should be noted that our blue logo, leading lifetime learning, what we've been known as from a symbol perspective, really has been 20 years. It was 20 years ago when that was first established. So it has definitely served us well and has served us over a period of time. And as you are aware, part of our strategic plan, one of the specific goals was around establishing a common understanding of our brand and identity. And what was the data that drove us to that goal? Well, in many of the comments in the focus groups and in the surveys, we heard, are you a school district that competes with other local school districts, or are you like a traditional school? This was a pretty powerful comment. I think there's still a large population that doesn't know what TBAISD does. It's kind of funny. but it's not. My wife works and she tells people that she works at TBA and they think she works at a credit union. So there's a lot of brand confusion within our community around TBAISD. And this was from one superintendent. You represent more than Traverse City, yet your name says Traverse, and none of the other 16 other districts. Many districts that you serve are not necessarily closely related to the Traverse area. So if you think of Kalkaska or Mansalona, they really don't necessarily identify with Traverse City per se. Again, that's a similar comment. Another comment is I find it amazing how many people don't even know we exist or that we provide necessary services. So it was really important that we listen to the data and have the data drive some of the improvements. And so here's just some more data points. I think it's pretty powerful to think that when we queried our principals, our local school principals, about the 12 different services that we provide, they really only felt a real strong connection to the special ed services, and they didn't really realize that TBAISD is more than just serving our students with special needs. So we've undertaken a rebranding effort, a simple, subtle change to our leading lifetime learning. We wanted to kind of deviate from being quote unquote trying to be the best in the world, which kind of gives that the level of competition and really try to go to what is in our values as an organization and what we really want to focus on, and that's serving. So serving lifetime learning, and we want to build a culture of collaboration. I cannot thank enough this amazing team. So each of our strategic plan goals has a very hardworking team that's working behind the scenes and developing strategies and activities and moving things forward. And so again, kudos specifically to Heather Jewell and then Tom Mills and Jennifer Stairs, who chaired this work and continue to move this work forward. We were able to contract the services of the Nielsen Design Group, and so they've been instrumental. And in their research, they extensively dove into what it is that individuals, both internal stakeholders and external stakeholders, feel that it's important that our name represent. And you can see these 4 categories. Their research said that it's clear that it's about education. What we do in everything centers around education. It centers around relationship building. We exist to serve, provide support, and be responsive. And that, that a geographical placement, it happens in this place, in this region. And it's important that we identify what that region is. And so, again, if you take a look at those 4 different categories, it's about education, it's about a collaborative, a partnership, it's around service. And where are we? We are in Northwest Lower Michigan. So when building a brand identity, we really look to focus on a formal name, an intentional, informal name, a symbol, and then a brand signature. All 5 things are super important. And when we do that, we also want to make sure that our organizational chart, if you will, really represents our values and who we stand for. And so, as you're aware, we announced already the formal name, the name that our Board of Education approved in November and was approved by the State Board of Education in December is Northwest Education Services. The intentional nickname or abbreviated name will be North Ed. And then here you can see the name with the designed logo. And it can look in a variety of different ways depending on what type of communication we're going to be sending out. Again, you have that symbol and Northwest Education Services. As we've talked about, the informal name, if you will, is North Ed. So when you see that symbol, that's what will come up, North Ed. This is our current quote unquote organizational chart. It's very, it's very traditional. It is top down, if you will. I don't think it truly represents our values as an organization and what we want to highlight and celebrate. And so the future state of our organization really shifts the old model upside down. It shifts the structure also to help clearly communicate the vast services and collaborative nature of our organization. The primary funding source for the organization will remain general ed, special ed, career and tech. That will remain the same. But what we want to do is we want our programs and services to shine. And so this gives you kind of a graphic of what that new organizational chart will look like. The lower half represents the services from all of our operations, but the upper half really represents the educational supports that serve all learners, schools, and communities. The brand identity system will become more clearly defined, and it really does allow our programs to shine. So as an example, what it could look like is, again, you see the symbol of North Ed, and then in small print, you see Northwest Education Services. But in large print, you see those services that we offer that we want to highlight. Business services. I think we're at 9 of our local districts that we offer business services to. Technology services. Those are the things that we want to showcase, not as it is right now, TBAISD. It's more about the services and programs that we have. So again, these are just some examples of a formal name and the symbol on the left and the tagline on the bottom, okay? Again, the right hand, the right lower right corner kind of gives you a flavor of what a specific service would be and how we might be able to communicate that. Here's a really good look of how departments will be captured within our signature. You're noticing some subtle color changes and different ways that we can enclose the North Ed symbol. We're going to have some flexibility with that, and then there will obviously, as you can see, some standardization that will take place. If you think about individual programs within that, we use the example again on the, let's say on the top right, the early childhood. We really want to highlight the team, the preschool assessment team, or if it's down on the right-hand corner, you can see North Ed Career Tech, it's film and new media. That's the program we want to lift up. Here's just a couple of examples of what some formal publications might look like. You can see the North Ed symbol and special education with early childhood programming and that symbol. And then here's a hypothetical application for a more formal approach. When we have our National Honor Society celebrations, or we have our quote unquote graduations and celebrations, this more formal signature might be used in those cases. Here's a quote from a local school superintendent. The new name reflects more of an inclusive representation of the area you serve and embodies your values within your new name, Northwest Education Services. We couldn't agree more. And what I would like to just say, as I'm going to close out here and then I'll open it up for questions, is that in all my presentations to date, I want to make it clear that we have a rich history. TBAISD has a rich history that we don't want to lose, and we want to continue to embrace. We exist in our organization that is thought of in a high value within our community, not because of the name and not because of the symbol, but because of you and how we represent our community and the services we provide. That will remain unchanged. And so as we continue to do everything to live our values of putting students first, developing relationships, experiencing and displaying empathy, focusing on service, as we continue to do that, the name and the transition will again remain in that background, but what will be lifted up is what you do for our families and our communities every day. So, and just a really brief, there will be some transition time. And as we've talked about, this is a slow rollout for a large period of time. You're going to see Northwest Education Services, and then right underneath that, you'll see formally TBAISD. We're going to start making sure that people know that this is still TBAISD, but then as we start to begin the next school year, we'll start to transition into more of that new formal logo and name. And again, this is just another representation of what it could look like. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'd be happy to open it up to any questions that you may have, questions you may be hearing that you would need or like clarification on. And if I can't answer them, we have Heather here. She's going to help us because she's been intimately involved in each of the meetings that have taken place. So any questions? You can throw them in the chat. I don't know that you have the ability to, yeah. Any questions or comments? We'll accept comments too.
Nick, as people are thinking about this, when will they start to see some of the switch? I know there'll be a transition, but when might they see that new name? When should they be, acknowledging it maybe, or ready to talk about it?
Yeah, I think some have probably already started to see some subtle changes. Heather and the team are going to be more intentional with signatures on our emails. We're going to be in March. We're going to start to engage the media a little bit so that they're going to have an understanding. My guess is that there'll be some news stories around it. We'll be doing some press releases, right, Heather? I'm looking at you, and in March. And so I think over the next month or two, you'll start to see some of that transition. Like I said, it won't be real formal until the beginning of next year when we really start to get this out into the community. But people can start to have those conversations. Those are really super important.
So it looks like we're starting to get some comments in the chat here. I'll just read a comment, and then there's a question to follow. Logo looks nice, clean, and sends a clear message of services. But the first question is, can we start using the new name as needed, or should we wait until the start date?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking that. And I would say you can start to use the new name as long as you say formally TBAISD, right? I mean, we want to make sure that, so our community isn't going to know Northwest Education Services, and we don't want to have brand confusion as to, is this a new thing within our community, a new organization. So again, if you're going to use North Ed or use that information, make sure that it's followed with formally TBAISD so that people know it's still our organization. And so really good question.
Nick, another question is, I really like the understanding or comment. I really like the understanding of the change and what we represent. Thank you for the information. The communication's greatly appreciated.
Well, thanks for that feedback. And the why question is critically important. It doesn't matter what we're talking about or what we're doing. You know, we established one of our goals was to establish a financial policy, which was adopted last year. And the question is why? And we have to go back to our strategic plan and being really clear that the data is what drove that plan. There was a significant number of the individuals within our community that we serve, that there was brand confusion, that there wasn't a clear understanding of the number of programs and services that we offer. So we want to seize upon that and we look to improve. And that was a goal that was established, and therefore we want to dedicate time, energy, and resources to ensuring that we're getting better in that area. And so, again, I can't thank the team has been working tirelessly behind the scenes. That committee has really done a great job, and appreciate Emily Nielsen, Nick Beetleson, and the entire Nielsen design group. Emily Mitchell, I get those two confused, yeah.
So we do have another quick question, and it says, I'm sorry, I have come in late. Is there a chance this will be recorded? So yes.
Yeah, it is being recorded. And what I would recommend that if you do have, again, we're only into it for about 20 minutes right now. If you have 20 minutes to review it, and then if you look at it and you look at it again and it generates questions, please email or call our offices so that we can provide clarity, because our best messengers are going to be our internal staff. Once they understand the why, once they understand the transition schedule, once you understand the importance of getting this message out, others that will understand that too, and they'll embrace that. So thank you for your support in that. And so if you have time and have questions, please review it. Other questions? I guess I would just, before I end, Heather, anything else that I may have missed? I know that you and the committee have been working behind the scenes. Anything else?
No, other than the fact that you can just follow the lead in regard to our messages and the check it out. We will be officially releasing the press release to the media middle of March. So that means by that point, everything will be open up to the public. It'll be a question and a common question to us after that point when more people become aware of it. So you can just follow our lead and listen and watch for communication along the way. And that'll give you tips on how you can carry the message forward yourself.
All right. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Carol, for moderating. Appreciate everyone that was able to sign on. Again, if you have colleagues that ask about it, please direct them to the recording and see if they have some time to review it. And we'll continue to communicate with you on this transition. Thank you, everyone.